This is Ghost Talk with 187 PI. Sit back and prepare yourselves for an adventure into the paranormal world with host Shelley Robertson and 187 PI research team. Ghost Talk is broadcasting live from Ohio's most haunted jail. Listen as they delve into the history of the old and haunted Paulding County Jail, where some of the residents still live within its walls. Learn about their ongoing research at the jail and abroad, investigation techniques, and their personal encounters. Here is your host of Ghost Talk and 187 PI founder, Shelley Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Talk Radio. We have a fantastic and interesting show planned for you tonight. Make sure, though, you all are logged into chat at letstalkradio.net. Tonight, co-host with me is Kristen Boyd. We will be discussing spirit portals. Hello and welcome, Kristen.
Hey, everyone. It is wonderful to be back on the show again.
It's great to have you back. How about we just dig in and we get right into tonight's topic of discussion, which is spirit portals. There's a lot of debate, controversy, and theories swirling around tonight's topic. Some people believe they exist, while others do not. There's even debate on what they are and what they do, etc., etc. The list goes on. While we here at 187 PI are indeed researching this very subject currently, right here at the jail, in this very third floor where we're at right now, there's so much more research and studying need to be done in this area. What actually is a spirit portal? Well, in a nutshell, the most basic explanation or theory is they are thought to be a form of entrance and exit point for spiritual energy and other dimensions. A gateway or door, so to speak, connecting our physical realm with other dimensions or realms that allow spirits and other worldly beings to enter or exit. Now, where are they? Where can they be found? There's a lot of thoughts and theories on this, and it's believed that portals tend to exist where there is strong gravitational abnormalities. These abnormalities create an area that can bend light and cause a considerable distortion within the human energy field. Now, they tend to be in abundance where ley lines have been found, especially where several ley lines cross, in the earth. These are considered to be some of the hot spots for these portals. Let's go over some more places where they can be found, Kristen.
Sure. Other areas of increased portal activities, they tend to take place near underground waterways.
Yes.
I've actually heard a lot about that.
Me too.
And it's believed that these waterways increase energy due to the flowing of the water over the rocks.
And many of these old haunted buildings and stuff that's got a lot of paranormal activity will have wells in the basements.
Yeah,
yes.
The old wells. I do recall that.
Mm-hmm.
And, this water tends to absorb negative energy that may come from such things as tragic occurrences, which can also create an electrical field, all of which are the recipe for a portal being created.
Yes.
Now, portals have also been associated with bridges that run over water. Traumatic events such as wrecks, suicides, mixed with the flowing of water, they tend to create the perfect mix for potential portals.
Yes, and I have also just heard some movement of furniture in the other room.
I did too.
We have been having lots of activity in the jail today, and so it's a treat for you all tonight. Me and Kristen are the only ones here in the kitchen on the third floor. And just beyond this kitchen, which we're hearing it live through these headphones, so I'm sure you guys will be able to hear it too. It sounds like furniture is being moved on occasion, footsteps, and it's been very noisy up here.
Very active.
Yes. So let's just continue on. I heard that again. When you investigate a potential haunting or a portal, it is wise to try to figure out if there's water that runs, underneath the location. Now, portals are thought to exist in areas of entries and exits within the physical world, allowing the spirits to enter into our realm. Now, such entries and exits would be like your natural doorway at your house, windows, closets, cupboards, and even wardrobes, if you can believe that, have been considered potential portal areas. So you get your suit out and
there's your portal.
Uh-huh.
Well, people who have reported seeing portals have described them as being like an elongated, swirling shape.
Kind of like a morphing, I find myself.
Right, yeah. And it's sometimes described that the area the portal is encompassing is much brighter and more vivid in color as well.
Mm-hmm.
And where these portals exist, hauntings and paranormal activity increase due to the doorways and gateways they create for other realms to enter and exit.
And there are said to be common portals that are found within your homes, parks, cemeteries, and other similar areas. These particular portals are opened for, several various reasons, and they're done so within several different ways. Now, one way is by inadvertently opening a portal by using such means as a Ouija board or a spirit board or other devices that is used for summoning spirits. It is said seances can open such portals as well, yet it's often unknown what causes some portals to open and even exist at all. Like some are just there.
They've just always been there.
Yes.
Well, portals can exist within your home even if it's being built brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just the ground on which the home is being built and the portal already exists within that land. The most common places a portal exists within your home are, like you said, doorways,
Mm-hmm.
also mirrors, basements, and once again, cupboards and wardrobes.
And basements, especially with wells.
Yes, exactly. The running water.
Yes.
And it's said by many that do the research that portals are more abundant than what most of us are actually aware of.
That is fascinating. Now, some basic characteristics of a portal is it's thought to be a hole or window in the energy field that permits other spirit realms and or dimensional beings to enter and exit. Now, negative spirits, they tend to frequently come through the portals as well. The reasoning behind this is because it's believed that the astral layer closest to our realm is where the negative energy and entities reside.
How unfortunate.
Yes. Portals are considered both entrance and exits. It's a pathway, so to speak, in the physical realm.
Well, there are several indicators that may help you to tell if there's a portal that is existent in your home.
Okay.
One of those would be some sounds. Now, you may hear odd or unusual sounds, disembodied voices within particular areas of your home. You may also see shadow figures, faint shapes, or you may even see realistic figures that should technically not be present at all. Now, there may be even certain areas that gives you that creepy or unsettling vibe.
Yes, like right up here.
I've had that several times,
Yeah.
for sure. Additional indicators that there may be a portal opening include strange lights forming that appear in colors of yellows, blues, and reds. Hearing a faint buzzing sound when the portal opens and closes.
And that is something that we need to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
when the activity happens up here.
We will have to do that. And the paranormal activity is said to surge more than normal activity that you may actually be experiencing.
Absolutely. Now I'll tell you something else. Physical forms will rarely, if ever, travel through a common portal. Portals can be categorized according to the direction and the nature of the energy flow from which it can be positive or negative. Now, a positive portal is where the energy is flowing upward and out of the earth. These usually consist of feelings of being revitalized and have a positive vibe. This energy that emits from these portals feels more electric, and it is said to boost one's spiritual skills and to expand one's consciousness. Now, negative portals, however, this is where the energy is flowing inward towards the earth. Now, the energy within these portals, they feel heavier and are more negative in nature, you know. Fear is often experienced, and it's said if you encounter a negative portal, there may even be overwhelming feelings of sadness or hate, anger, jealousy, even depression.
Jeez.
Yes, that would be bad.
Yes,
and people that are considered sensitives, they can become victims of nightmares and even possible feelings of oppression. Both positive and negative portals can be created by free will. They both exist because they were summoned into existence. We can feel or sense these portals and their effects by the energy and vibrations from either their upward or their inward flow. Portals do not close automatically. If you don't take the proper steps into closing it, it can remain open indefinitely.
Which could be a very terrible thing for everyone.
It could be, depending on what's coming through.
That's right. Now, talking about opening portals, portals are open in various reasons and in various ways.
Yes.
A few of these could include the Ouija board, seances, and different types of summonings.
I see.
Now, a little bit more about Ouija boards. They were actually first introduced in 1890 as a harmless game for a family to play. But evidently, it was realized that these games could actually be used to contact spirits and or open portals into the spirit realm.
Now, I'll tell you something about that.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried using the Ouija board many times.
Yeah.
And had nothing at all happen.
Really?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. And I close out the session because I don't know if something's lurking behind or whatever.
Don't blame you there.
But I've never, ever had anything happen with that.
And I've heard on the contrary, some people have used them and had many things happen.
And even lots of bad stuff. Yeah.
I've never touched it again.
They're scared to contact me, I guess, on the Ouija board.
Well, okay, so the board, it contains numbers, letters, and words that also have a planchette that the players place their fingers on, and that moves over these numbers and letters. Now, when the players are asked questions, they await for a spirit to respond by guiding the planchette over the board, creating words or sentences in response. The board is a portal into the spirit realm and should be used properly to ensure portals are open and closed as they should when the session is completed.
That's correct. And even though I've had no activity, I close my session out because
I'd say that's wise.
yes, you just never know. I mean, there are several signs that a Ouija board session may be headed in an unfortunate direction. Now, while I have no experience with this per se, I've heard a lot.
Right.
Of people talking to me and telling me about their experiences. Now, this usually stems from a negative portal or a negative entity being accessed. The planchette moves through the alphabet or numbers, hits the corners of the board, or makes a figure 8 with no regard to the questions you ask. Now, all this erratic movement, this could be a sign that whatever spirit or demon you're communicating with is trying to break out.
That's a scary thought.
It is. So if it just starts going crazy,
Close that puppy.
close the session. The planchette flies or falls onto the floor. When this occurs, the entity may escape and the portal may open. Now, you may experience time gone missing. Hours disappear without you having any idea of what happened during that time. When this happens, the entity may have even possessed you or someone that was using the board with you, accessing your energy and trying to communicate with something or someone. Now, strange things have occurred beyond the board, such as when the session is over, strange noises have been heard, shadows have been seen. This is a side effect of opening a portal and not properly closing out the Ouija board session. Now, about the seances. It's the French word that means seat or sessions. Now, a seance is actually a form of mediumship in which people communicate with entities. To conduct a seance, everyone involved sits in a circle using some sort of summoning device, and that's usually placed in the middle of the circle, and you begin to ask questions to locate or contact an entity that you're trying to talk to. Now, you can ask the entity to knock in response to an answer. It was during the 1800s, I believe it was, that seances became so popular due to these two sisters who began this spiritualistic movement. The first reported spirit rapping took place here in America in 1848 with the playful efforts of Margaret and Kate Fox. They were trying to communicate with the dead. They actually succeeded in contacting a spirit named Charles Rosna. Now, Charles Rosna had been killed and buried in the basement of that house. Now, at the time, these two girls didn't actually know that part of it, but the bones were actually recovered in the basement, and what had been innocent fun then became a sensation.
I'm sure they were quite surprised with the results of that.
Yes, I'm sure they were too, because I sure would have been.
I know I would have been. Now, during a session, some of the spirits communicated by lifting and tilting the table that you were sitting at, and or they would make rapping sounds to communicate. This all came to be known as typology. The medium communicating the seance acts as a conduit to the spirit world, using energy from the group participating to help communicate with the spirits. Now, a seance can intentionally or unintentionally open a hole into the spirit world. If the seance is conducted while being unprepared, the participants may suffer the consequences from the unclosed portal that they had opened.
Yes.
So such things as prolonged communication with the dead after the session has ended, the area the seance was held could become haunted, and a spirit can actually attach themselves to one of the members that was a part of that session.
Ooh, now that is bad.
That's very bad.
Other forms of potential portals, yet not as predominant as a Ouija board and seance, would include the use of pendulums and automatic writing. Both of these allow you to contact your spirit guide or even a ghost to find answers to questions you might have. Now, about closing portals. If you have opened a portal in one way or another, or just stumbled across one, there are ways to go about closing it. However, I must warn you, it does take some time and some preparation. Whenever it is possible, you should be in front of the portal when closing it. If you are unable to be in front of the portal, having a photo or a hand-drawn picture of it will work just as well. Just ensure that whatever it is you use to represent the portal, that it can be burnt. Burning it helps seal the portal when the ritual has been completed.
Now, you should always begin a portal closing by a protection prayer or blessing, along with asking only the spirit that you call upon to come through.
Yes.
You want to stand within a circle of salt when performing the ritual, and using salt to toss at the portal is needed to protect yourself and cleanse the area the portal is located when the closing of the portal is taking place.
That is correct. And you should also place candles around the circle and leading up to the portal. Doesn't matter what color they are. It's just your energy pathway. And you should put the candles up there too. And with that, we will be right back after this short break with more Ghost Talk. You're listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
If you call other talk stations, all you get is,
"Hello, we're sorry, but no one is available to answer your call at this time."
but at Let's Talk Radio, we're here for the best talk, news, and information 24 hours a day. Hear it here first or find out about the alien invasion tomorrow from someone else. Depend on us. Let'sTalkRadio.net. In 2012, Keith Linder, after successfully obtaining a management position at a prestige healthcare company, decides the time is right for him and his girlfriend to move in together. That's putting things lightly. Weird things begin to happen within days of moving into the modern suburban home. The horrors they witnessed and desperately tried to fight off would end up putting them at the odds with members of the paranormal community and themselves. This gripping story, told from the house occupant's point of view, not only lists tales, but also includes pictures, video reenactments, commentary, and audio of the events being reported. Author Keith Linder does not ask you to believe him. He only asks you to listen. The Bothell Hell House by Keith Linder, now available on Amazon. The book, The Bothell Hell House. The author, Keith Linder. Order yours today on Amazon. Terry Lovelace is a 64-year-old retired lawyer and former assistant attorney general. The earliest alien experience Terry can recall was when he was 8 years old. Incident at Devil's Den. In May of 1963, he saw a UFO and described it as a perfect silver disc. 3 years later, on a clear night, he saw a second flying disc outside his second-story bedroom window. Incident at Devil's Den. In 1975, while serving as a medic in the Air Force, he witnessed yet another UFO hovering 50 feet over an ICBM missile silo. Incident at Devil's Den. 2 years later, while he and a friend were camped in an isolated state park known as Devil's Den, Terry had a life-changing fourth encounter. Not only did Terry and a friend witness an estimated 5-story high UFO, but this fourth encounter would be an epic, life-altering event. Incident at Devil's Den by Terry Lovelace. Digital download or paperback now available on Amazon. Let'sTalkRadio.net.
"22 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me, Shelley Robertson, as your host. And joining me is Kristen Boyd. If you guys just tuned in, we have been discussing portals. If you missed the first part of the show, have no fear. You can catch the full show archive at your leisure at letstalkradio.net or on Speaker, iTunes, Google Play, or iHeartRadio. We invite all our listeners tonight to join us in chat at letstalkradio.net, and be sure to post any questions you might have for us in all capital letters.
Now, speaking of chat, Stanley here has mentioned that he attended a seance.
Is that right?
It is. But months after that, he says he visited the same place several times when a spirit jumped on top of him in the middle of the night.
That would be so freaky, wouldn't
That
it?
would be a little scary.
Thinking nothing happened and later on?
Then having that happen, absolutely.
Yes, that would be horrifying, really.
And thank you, Stanley, for sharing that with us.
Yes, very good, very good. I will tell you, there's been several beliefs out there about mirrors, and those have actually been around for hundreds of years.
Yep, I have heard about them.
And one of the things, there's lots of old wives' tales and stuff about the mirrors. And one of it is that they must be removed from rooms of people who were very ill and dying.
That's true, and it was at this time that people were most vulnerable to the negative powers of the mirrors. People were actually cautioned to never look into a mirror at night or by candlelight. It was thought that during this time you could see a ghost, demons, or even a prediction of death.
Prediction of death. Oh my goodness.
That would be terrifying. And, when a person has passed away within a room, all mirrors are to either be removed or covered, and failure to comply with this rule could result in the deceased person's soul being lost within that mirror. And it was advised that when one sleeps, to ensure that your bed was not in the vicinity of an uncovered mirror. It was said that if you did not heed to this, the negative spirits of demons could attack you during the dark hours of the night.
Yes, and it's kind of ironic that Casey Wendy, she asked the question in chat, why aren't mirrors covered when someone dies? They are either to be covered or removed because it could result in the deceased person's soul being lost. That's what is believed.
Yeah, trapped within the mirrors.
That's a very good question.
It is a good question.
Now, to prevent mirrors from becoming a portal by other realms and or dimensions, it was advised to move the mirrors to different locations frequently. Mirrors with a solid backing that are stationary and not moved for long periods of time, they are considered to be more prone to becoming a spiritual portal. There are also hundreds of documented cases of haunted mirrors. People have reported paranormal occurrences when an old mirror is brought into their home or a mirror is left in a home that someone else moved into. Now, mirrors can be used for divination, scrying purposes, but if they're not closed out properly, they become a portal.
That can be scary. Stanley, he was just saying a little bit more about what happened to him.
Okay.
He said that he was actually in bed with the covers on, and he was wide awake because he had just crawled back into bed. And that's when the spirit, or whatever it may have been, jumped on top of him, and it said it held his covers taut for 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
And he was struggling to get out. And he said it finally let go, and he jumped out of the bed, and he snapped a picture in the dark and said, "You're good."
So, did he get the picture?
Did you get
the picture of it? That's what I want to know, Stanley.
Yes.
What'd you get in that picture? Now, we have been discussing some common spirit portals that maybe, that most of you have probably heard about. Now, we would like to talk about some that are not so common, that people don't normally associate when we're talking about spirit portals.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk right quick about scrying. This is an ancient form of spirit communication, and it has been used for hundreds of years from many different groups, from Native Americans, pagans, witches, Satanists, psychics, and even paranormal researchers. It is believed if it's done properly, it can open portals into the spirit world. There are a few different techniques that you can use when scrying. You can use mirrors, you can use water, which is also called hydromancy, and crystals such as crystal balls. Now, Nostradamus, that famed predictioner, or so to call him, he practiced hydromancy. Now, in all of the mentioned techniques, the room should be nearly dark, and the only light that should be there is that from white candles. Now, white candles signify protection, so to say. Now, with your water technique, the water should be placed in a dark-colored bowl, and a small trinket or a crystal should be added in the center of the bowl. And this is used basically as a focus point for you. Now, you can do your protection prayer, and you should state what it is you're wanting to see, or what you want to know, or what you're needing help with. Then basically, you put yourself into a meditative state, and you gaze into either the mirror, water, or the crystal ball, whichever one you're using. You gaze into that until your eyes are out of focus. Once you have reached this state, you will then begin to see spirit images or scenes being played out. Now, after you are finished, thank the spirits and you close out the portal. Now, I am pretty successful. I do the scrying with the mirrors. I have not tried it with the water, but I do see all kinds of images of the current stuff.
That is interesting.
With the mirrors. And I do have a large scrying mirror here in the jail that we use. And we do experiments, and it's pretty fascinating, some of the outcomes of the experiments. Now, not everyone will be successful with this on their first few attempts. This takes a bit of practice.
Well, I'm sure. I'm kind of excited to get to experience this.
Yes, and one of the experiments that I do is I will scry with someone, and we will write down what we've seen. And I have found that it's not actually a figment of your mind when you see the same things.
Right.
So you know it's actually happening, you know.
Well, talking about scrying, there actually is another type of scrying, and it's called soul gazing.
Ah.
Now, this form of scrying involves looking deep within a person's eyes and observing the reflections.
I'll bet you there's people that would not want to let us do that to them.
I'm sure. I think having someone stare at me for a long time would make me...
They'd be afraid of what you might see.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this type also brings to mind the body portals or the chakras that each of us have.
Yes.
Now, chakras are energetic gateways or portals. Each has its own color and governs different areas and emotions within the body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have an energy system which consists of 14 chakras. And the chakra system forms a bridge, link, or serves as an energy transformer, changing pure or higher energy into various forms.
Yes.
The chakra system also connects the four bodies, spiritual, mental, astral, and physical, all together. The chakras are visible or detectable to clairvoyance and others with psychic ability. They're described by various people as flowers, wheels, and certain colors are attributed to each.
Now, information on chakras is a huge topic all on its own. So we're just going to mention the specific ones that are responsible for, let's narrow it way down, let's say spirit connections. Now, one of which is the third eye chakra, which is located at your brow. And the indigo color, it represents the third eye chakra. And another one is your crown chakra, and that's on the top of your head, hence the word crown. And purple is associated with this one. Now, we have included some pictures on our Ghost Talk or Radio Facebook page in a photo album titled Spirit Portals. Just go to Facebook, type in the search, Ghost Talk Radio will pop right up, and you can get a look at some of the pictures from tonight's show as well as some from the previous shows, because we've got some photo albums in there. Now, I'll tell you all, not only can our bodies be portals, so to speak, there are also Earth and Stargate portals. And I would like to invite all our new listeners out there, pop on into chat. You're going to want to talk with everybody on these next ones because they are so interesting.
Yes, they are.
The chat room is located at letstalkradio.net. You can interact with us. Wait till you hear about some of these next portals. I will tell you, in 2015, NASA finally admitted that Earth portals actually exist, so to speak. They have been studying them for quite some time. These are areas on the planet that could instantly teleport human beings from one place to another. One of NASA's spacecrafts, the Themis, and some cluster probes from Europe have amassed enough observational data to confirm that a magnetic Stargate portal exists in many locations. Usually these are found within the faraway geometric field bumps, and the passing solar wind is what causes these. Now, the result is a direct pathway between the Earth and the Sun. Now, in March 2015, NASA launched its MMS mission that, among other things, is tasked with the studying of these portals to gain a deeper understanding of them. Now, most of these are small, with short lives, though others have been observed as gaping holes with substantiated lifespans. Now, the opening and closing of these portals, they can happen many times a day, they say.
That's fascinating.
It is. Magnetic forces mingle, allowing their crackling energy particles to flow between the Earth and the Sun. Now, these meeting points, they are called fixed points by NASA. They have been pinpointed by scientists using polar data. I think that is so fascinating. I want to time travel.
That would be interesting.
Yes, yes.
Now, one of my favorite places that I've always been intrigued with.
I want to go there.
I know. The Bermuda Triangle.
Absolutely.
It is probably one of the most famous Stargate portals. It actually encompasses three vortices. The Bermuda Triangle, sometimes referred to as the Devil's Triangle, is a large abyss that stretches between San Juan, Puerto Rico, Bermuda Island, and Miami, Florida. First noted in late 1950s or early 1951, the Bermuda Triangle was actually deemed to be a mysterious area in which huge military ships and planes were lost without any other plausible explanation. The government, the military, no one could explain the disappearances of any of this.
Right.
In 1964, Vincent Gaddis argued that the Bermuda Triangle was a site of strange occurrences, such as disappearing tanker ships and jets, with the government being unwilling or unable to provide a reason or explanation. But some have argued that the claims of Gaddis were also exaggerated.
Oh, yeah, you have lots of theories around the Bermuda Triangle. Like,
yes, you do.
The theories are huge, and some people say it's even fakery. I don't know. But there has been disappearances.
Yes, there has.
Now, so this brings us to the Montauk Project, and this is surrounded by controversy and conspiracy theories as well, and it's located in Long Island, New York, on the Montauk Air Force Station, also known as Camp Hero. It was a site of this project, which was an extension of what they called the Philadelphia experiment. Now, the United States government backed a research project that was sought to further substantiate data on magnetic fields and their physiological effects, as well as time travel. Now I went in on the time travel. Once this secret funding was received from the Department of Defense, various experiments were conducted, including the creation of a dimensional portal that enabled researchers to travel to very far locales. As a result of their success, researchers also developed a time tunnel in which contact was made also with aliens, as well as underground tunnels and brain reprogramming methods. Can you imagine that?
No.
I don't want my brain reprogrammed, but in another incident, it said that there was a flying saucer become stuck in the Montauk underground tunnels, and its alien crew was demanding a crystal that was needed to repair engines so they could leave. Now, I don't know. There are even more stories swirling around this project. It is even said to have been an inspiration for the show Stranger Things.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know, I love that show.
Yeah, it's a good show. I like it too.
Okay, well then we have the Skinwalker Ranch, which is located in Unitah County in Utah. Skinwalker Ranch is also called UFO Ranch, and it's one of the state's most famous areas of paranormal activity.
Ooh, Skinwalker Ranch. It just sounds so weird, doesn't
A
it?
little creepy, actually. Now, with a history dating back more than 50 years, Skinwalker Ranch has been the site of paranormal activity such as crop circles, poltergeists, UFOs, glowing orbs, and other extraterrestrial occurrences.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the family who owned the ranch from 1994 until 1996 reported that cattle on the ranch were found mutilated or they just simply vanished into thin air.
Wow.
They have also seen piercing red eyes glaring at them from oversized animals.
Like they got really big, huh?
It appears that way, and they even shot bullets at them, but they never even appeared injured.
Oh, wow.
But respected businessman Robert Bigelow believes so strongly that activities such as these were important to the survival of the planet that he formed the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, and staffed it with top scientists in the field. In 1996, the organization acquired the ranch in order to study its paranormal activity in depth. Now, numerous unexplainable events were chronicled, including stargates that emitted magnetic fields that were highly destructive. With strain funding and a slowdown of paranormal sightings at the ranch, NIDS actually shut down in 2004. However, Bigelow still does own Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes, and I wonder if they would let us go on there. We could visit the ranch.
That would be interesting.
Very interesting, absolutely. Now, being out west, there's a place in Sedona, a small town in Arizona. It was once known by the Native American tribes as Nawanda. At one time, it was the most sacred city to them, and it is said the red rocks of the deserts that surround that small town, they can create a vortex with the capability of transporting people to another realm or dimension. I know, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Just the rocks. Now, Native Americans believe these rocks, they were spiritually charged, and sounds emitted from them have been reported. Now, the mountains of Arizona, it's reported that there's a kind of like a doorway of the gods there, where a strange stone or arch portal there, I can't even talk.
I think our guests in our building with us is kind of distracting sometimes.
There's a strange stone arch portal there. And it's to another time and space, you know. In the 1950s, a local tribesman was aiding treasure hunters who were searching for gold in the mountains. He told them a story of his people dating back to the 1800s of 3 tribesmen who had discovered the archway while riding in the desert. Now, the story goes that when one of them walked through, he just simply disappeared. The other 2, believing they had encroached on a sacred land, they fled the scene.
Well, I would have to say that if I seen someone disappear in front of me, I would probably flee the scene as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'm out of here, bye.
That's exactly right. Okay, so in Wiltshire, England, there's Stonehenge.
Oh, famous.
Once
yes.
again, one of my favorite topics.
Yes.
And they're also one of the most well-known structures on the planet, even if only known by the name.
Yes.
Stonehenge is actually an ancient rock formation, and it is also one of the most contested and debated sites in history, both as to when it was built and to what its true purposes might have actually been. Now, mainstream historians claim that the famous arrangement was built around 5,000 years ago.
That's a long time.
That's a very long time.
Yes.
They thought it was built mainly from bluestones that were quarried from a site 240 miles away.
That's fascinating.
It's a long travel.
Yes.
To some, though, this notion is absurd.
Yeah.
And geologist Brian John states that there have been no evidence for this claim and no evidence that the alleged quarry had even existed.
And with that, folks, we'll be back after this short break with more Ghost Talk. You are listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
We pause for station identification. It's the little cinder block building on the north side of town with the towel behind it. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience, covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. To subscribe, visit fatemag.com or call 828-702-3032. That's 828-702-3032. Subscribe and find your true reports of the strange and unknown at fatemag.com.
Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. We interrupt our scheduled programming to bring you the following conspiracy theory. Humpty Dumpty was pushed. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
$47 past the hour. Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me, Shelley Robertson, as your host. And joining me tonight is Kristen Boyd, who's also a member of 187PI Research Team. Now, if you just have tuned in, we have been discussing portals. We have covered some areas of interest in many different places across the globe. Don't worry, though, if you've missed the first part of the show. You can listen to the full show archive at your leisure at letstalkradio.net or on Speaker, iTunes, Google Play, or iHeartRadio. We invite you all who just joined us to join us in chat at letstalkradio.net, and be sure to post any questions you might have for us in all capital letters. Now, right before the break, Kristen was telling us about Stonehenge, and I gotta mention, we have our own version of the famed Stonehenge of England right here in the USA in Traverse City, Michigan, specifically in Lake Michigan. In 2007, while searching for the remains of shipwrecks, scientists discovered a stone structure 40 feet below the surface of Lake Michigan, thought to be about 9,000 years old. The structure had been dubbed Michigan's equivalent of Stonehenge. Now, the discovery was made by professor of underwater archaeology at Northwestern Michigan University. His name was Mark Hawley. Him and his colleague, Brian Abbott, were the ones who found this. The one thing of particular interest was a carving on one of the stones, and that carving was of a mastodon, which is believed to have become extinct over 10,000 years ago. So explain that. Now, a possible indication of the structure's age is that carving. So The location of the site has been kept really secret, at least for now, and this is in part because they have an agreement with the local Native American tribes who wish to keep the amount of visitors to a minimum. Now, while a lot of mainstream scientists are skeptical about this here age of the site, many believe it's the remains of a stargate or a wormhole. The site has also claimed several bizarre disappearances and have gained the title of the Michigan Triangle. So they're calling it
the Michigan Triangle.
Yes, and the Stonehenge.
Wow.
In 1891, a boat named the Thomas Hume vanished into thin air along with all 7 of its crew while sailing on the lake. In 1921, the 11 people who were aboard the Rosabelle disappeared without a trace, but their boat was found floating lifelessly in the water.
Wow.
In 1937, while on board of the O.M. McFarland, as it made its way along Lake Michigan, this captain by the name of Donner, he retired to his quarters to get some much-needed rest after a long shift on the deck. Now, 3 hours later, the second mate went to wake the captain. Finding his door locked from the inside, with no response from the captain, he eventually broke down the door to the room, and he found the captain's quarters empty. All the windows were shut and locked from the inside, and the captain had simply vanished. Now, speaking on portals tonight, I want to mention one last portal, which is actually tongue-tied, a piece of equipment that is called a portal box. It was designed and built by Steve Huff of Huff Paranormal. You can either build it your own self by using Steve's built-in direction list, which is still may be found at his website at huffparanormal.com, or you can purchase one already built at the ghosthuntersstore.com. Now, this piece of equipment allows you to have spirit communications like no other. I'm here to tell you. We have just built a new one per Steve Huff's specs. It works amazingly great, and we have, maybe on an upcoming show or something, we will do a portal box session so you can all hear it in action. So it's quite fascinating.
Pretty phenomenal, actually.
Yes. For everyone listening tonight, we invite you to keep your eyes on our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages this summer, as we will be going to some of the haunted locations we have discussed in some of our shows. We'll film the locations while we try to verify the haunting claims. Just go to Facebook or YouTube, type in the search 187PI, and the pages will pop right up. We'll also post updates on our Ghost Talk Radio Facebook page. And like I said earlier, we do have photos added there. Some of the things we do have coming up here at the jail for the month of April, I'm going to let you all know about. And the jail is located in Paulding, Ohio, for all listeners out there who aren't sure where we're located. We have the mad scientist, Dr. Rubenstein's Human Experiments theme running this month at the jail. These escape games are like no other you may have played, held right here in the cell blocks. The escape games help to fund the restoration process here at the jail and are crazy fun. You can find booking information by going to jailbreakcode9.com. Kristen, give them a rundown of the storyline right quick.
Well, while on the run, Dr. Rubenstein stumbled upon a small abandoned town, Paulding, Ohio.
Yes.
He set up his new secret research lab in the old Paulding County Jail, where he has captured people traveling through the area, locking them in the jail cells and performing his experiments on them.
Woo!
Dr. Rubenstein's plan is to build his own controlled army and take over the world. In his attempt on human testing, the virus was causing gene mutations in the people he injected. He noticed that people were taking on characteristics of zombies. but without the lust for human flesh for survival.
That is quite amazing. And they are so fun.
Yes, they are.
Now, the first public guided ghost hunt of the season here at the jail is April 27th and 28th, posted or put on and organized by Ghost Hunt Weekends. If you want to get in on a ghost hunt, go to ghosthuntweekends.com, click on the Old Paulding Jail for all the information. Now, coming up this week on Let's Talk Radio is some fantastic shows, just to name a few of them. Sunday night at 8 p.m., we have Gang of Girls Radio with Ariel Grace. Wednesday nights, we have Paranormal Experienced with Kat Hobson. Those are fantastic shows, and I listen to them personally and regularly. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules for tonight's live broadcast. Be sure to stick around for Fate Radio coming up next with host Todd Bates. He has a great show planned for tonight, and I'm pretty excited I'm going to be listening. Tune in next week for more Ghost Talk with the 187 PI research team, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, at letstalkradio.net. Have a great night, everyone.